So 11 quarterbacks were taken in the 2019 NFL draft. 11 quarterbacks were picked. And I want to talk about each one and how they fit with their new team and kind of just dissect each draft pick very briefly, very small, a little tidbit about each one. So with the number 1 overall pick, the Arizona Cardinals drafted Kyler Murray, the Heisman Trophy winner, the quarterback out of Oklahoma. And I love this pick. He's easily the best quarterback in the 2019 NFL draft. I think this is, by the way, this is what's crazy about this pick. It is insane to me that Oklahoma had back-to-back Heisman-winning quarterbacks who went number 1 overall. That happened 2 years in a row. Like deja vu, I don't know. That's unbelievable. That never, ever happens, and that actually happened. And I don't think people are appreciating just how unbelievable it is that that actually happened. Not to mention that Kyler Murray is a special player. I mean, he is going to be, I think, really, really good in the NFL. He's got an ability to read defenses that's unbelievable. He gets to in college at Oklahoma, he regularly worked all the way across the field, got back to his 4th and his 5th read. You just don't see that very often from NFL players, from high-level college quarterbacks. Most quarterbacks are comfortable getting to maybe their 3rd read, but by then they break down and run, especially if you can run the way Kyler Murray does. Kyler Murray has perfect mechanics. He's got a huge arm. Despite his short height, I think his arm strength is unbelievable. And he's got a special ability to run the football. Kyler Murray is a home run, and I loved what the Cardinals did. Now, with the 6th overall pick, the Giants drafted Daniel Jones, the quarterback out of Duke. And I made a whole video about this earlier. I did a whole topic. But again, I really like this pick. I don't think it's a horrible pick. This is a quarterback with average arm strength, but good enough arm strength, who's very accurate and makes really good decisions. And I don't know what else you want from a quarterback. A guy who's well-spoken, who makes good decisions, and is accurate with the football. I like this pick. I know it's controversial, but I think the Giants picked the guy they believe in, and I really respect that. Now, with the 15th overall pick, the Redskins drafted Dwayne Haskins, the quarterback out of Ohio State. And I think the Redskins got a really solid quarterback. The key here is I really, really hope the Redskins are patient with Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins needs a patient fan base who allows him time, because there are 2 things he really needs to work on. He needs to work on timing, and he needs to work on footwork and mechanics. And if he's given time to do that, I think he could be a really good franchise quarterback. This guy's very detailed. I really respect Dwayne Haskins' work ethic, right? He does a great job at taking what the defense gives him. He rarely forces throws downfield. He makes really good decisions. I like Dwayne Haskins, the quarterback. But the key here is he's got to be given time to properly develop. Please, if you're the Redskins, please. And the problem is they're probably going to do this. They're probably going to put him into a situation he's not ready for. If you're the Redskins, please give Dwayne Haskins the time he needs to properly develop. There's one big problem with Dwayne Haskins is occasionally the ball comes out of his hand really weird. It's a small mechanical issue. I got to see that improve. He needs to have better footwork. Again, I just hope they don't put him in before he is ready. And the problem is it's very likely the Redskins are going to take a chance and put Dwayne Haskins in before he's ready. That's a storyline I want to track, and we're probably going to be disappointed by that. Now, in the 2nd round, the Broncos drafted the quarterback out of Missouri, Drew Lock. And it's a fantastic pick. I love this. I really love Drew Lock going to the Broncos. Look, he's got a great arm. He just has problematic decision-making, which is why he needs to sit and learn behind a really good quarterback. It's a perfect situation. Drew Lock gets to sit and learn behind Joe Flacco. Not to mention that the Broncos have a really good offensive coordinator, Rich Scangarello, who worked with Kyle Shanahan, the quarterback and the head coach of the 49ers. I think Denver is a perfect fit for Drew Lock. He gets to sit, he gets to learn, he gets a good coach, and there's no pressure for him to play immediately. But he's also a great fit for Denver, right? It goes both ways. Drew Lock really works well in the climate of Denver, where there's cold weather, there's heavy wind, there's bad weather, and he's a huge guy with an even bigger arm, and his ability to shred the ball downfield into tight windows and cut through the wind and cut through storms, it's a perfect fit. That's a guy, if I think of my prototypical Denver quarterback, I think of a guy who literally is exactly like, has all the skill sets that Drew Lock has, And so I love it. Maybe he's the next Jay Cutler. A lot of people are saying that. I hope he's got a better attitude than Jay Cutler. I think he does. And I think really, if you take away the weird attitude problems of Jay Cutler, I don't know why. This was not in my plans to make this comparison, but I just physically they are very, very similar. And I think Drew Lock is a better and more positive guy than Jay Cutler was. And I think that Drew Lock is a home run. In the second round to Denver, that's a great pick. And he's going to be given time to develop. And I really, really like what the Denver Broncos did by drafting Drew Lock. Now, in the third round, the Panthers drafted Will Grier to be Cam Newton's new backup quarterback. And in some ways, I called this. I said, look, the NFL doesn't love Will Grier. He's a backup quarterback, and that's what he was picked to be. But I think this is a really underrated pick because if you look at Cam Newton's trajectory of his career, Cam Newton, one, gets hit a lot. And he gets hurt often. And the way that Cam Newton plays football, the style of football he plays, running around, taking big shots, I think Will Grier is not only going to be a good backup, but if Cam Newton's career is ever cut short because of an injury or because of his body just wears down very slowly over the next couple of years, I think that Will Grier is not only a good quarterback who makes good decisions, he'll be ready. If at some point it's clear the Panthers are going to need to move on from Cam Newton, Will Grier, I believe, will be ready to step into that role. I like what he is. I think he's a guy that needs 3 years to develop. But if you give him 3 years and let him learn your system, he might become a really good, even an NFL starting quarterback. And so that's what I want to watch is when inevitably it'll happen. At some point, Cam Newton's going to get hurt. How prepared will Will Grier be to take advantage of that opportunity? My guess is he's going to be well prepared and going to shred it when he gets the opportunity. Now, the second pick of the fourth round, the Bengals drafted Ryan Finley, the quarterback out of NC State. And I don't love this pick. I don't think he fits really well. This isn't even what my notes say. I don't think he fits really well in Cincinnati in cold weather. Like the two big problems with Ryan Finley was he occasionally makes really bad decisions and he doesn't have his really strong arm. When I hear those two things, actually what I think of is Andy Dalton. Like Ryan Finley is a smaller is a younger version of Andy Dalton. And I don't know that he's going to ever become the starting quarterback in Cincinnati. A lot of people are like, he's the next, maybe he's going to prepare and develop and 4 years from now he'll be the starting quarterback for the Bengals. I don't think that's what he is. I think the Bengals just wanted to lock down and get a really good solid backup. I could be wrong, right? I'm wrong about a lot of stuff, but I don't think Ryan Finley is the next great quarterback in Cincinnati. And I don't think he's the next successor to Andy Dalton. I think he's a really good backup who will do a good job being prepared behind Andy Dalton. He might even play well if he gets a chance, but I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. I think he's too limited with an arm strength problem, and he's got to learn how to make better decisions with the football. Later in the fourth round, the Patriots drafted Jarrett Stidham, the quarterback out of Auburn. And the question everybody's going to ask is Jarrett Stidham the next Tom Brady? And I want you to think about that for a minute. There's not a next Tom Brady. That's literally my feeds on social media are blowing up with, is Jarrett Stidham the next Tom Brady? No, there's not a next Tom Brady. Stop saying that. Here's what Jarrett Stidham could be, though. Jarrett Stidham could very well be the next franchise quarterback for the New England Patriots. When inevitably Tom Brady gets old and moves on, it's possible Jarrett Stidham is the next guy. I like him. He makes really good decisions. And that's the baseline need, right? Jarrett Stidham did a really good job in college putting the ball in the right spot. Now, the thing that Jarrett Stidham needs to work on, the reason why Jarrett Stidham was not a first-round pick and instead was a fourth-round pick is because he rarely fit the ball into tight windows when he was asked to. But I think of all the quarterbacks, and his junior year, by the way, was far better than his senior year. But I try to judge guys on what their most recent work is, and many times his senior year he had or his junior, his last whatever the most recent year was for Jarrett Stidham, he had opportunities to fit the ball into tight windows and didn't deliver on those opportunities. But I think, man, this is a truly great pick because Jarrett Stidham has potential. There's a really good foundation there. If I'm the Patriots, I would much rather have Jarrett Stidham than Ryan Finley, the quarterback out of NC State. I think Jarrett Stidham is a really good pick by the Patriots, a very savvy pick, and a guy who could potentially develop the same way Jimmy Garoppolo did for the Patriots and become a franchise quarterback eventually. I like the Jarrett Stidham pick. I think they did a great job, and he might be the next guy. Like when they picked, what's that guy out of LSU? They picked Danny Etling last year, and everyone's like, Danny Etling is the next Tom Brady. You're on drugs. Like, it's not going to happen. But Jarrett Stidham, he might actually be the next guy that follows Tom Brady and becomes the franchise quarterback. So I like the pick of Jarrett Stidham by the Patriots. Now, in the 5th round, the Chargers drafted Easton Stick, the quarterback out of North Dakota State. I need to do a film analysis of this guy. I have no idea. I haven't watched his film. I don't want to say too much on him because I don't know. But I want to find out. My question is, when I watch film, will Easton Stick be the next quarterback of the San Diego Chargers? Is he the quarterback of the future for this franchise? Or is he just a really good pick and a solid backup quarterback? I want to find that out eventually when I do a film analysis for Easton Stick. Another quarterback I haven't done a film analysis for was Clayton Thorson. He was actually the very next pick after Easton Stick. The Eagles drafted Clayton Thorson, the quarterback out of Northwestern. I thought it was weird because really the Eagles already have an interesting backup, Nate Sudfeld. Clearly they wanted more depth, but I need to do a film analysis of Clayton Thorson before I have a lot of really well-researched stuff to say about him. But it seems like if he is the backup quarterback for the Eagles, it is likely he would get a lot of playing time because, let's be honest about Carson Wentz. He frequently appears to get hurt. And so that's what I want to watch and kind of follow up on is, will Carson Wentz get hurt? And what kind of backup is Clayton Thorson for Carson Wentz? That's what I'm excited to see when I do my film analysis of him. There were 3 quarterbacks in total drafted in the NFL draft that I have not done film analyses for. I didn't do one for Easton Stick yet. I didn't do one for Clayton Thorson yet. And I have not yet done one for Trace McSorley, the quarterback out of Penn State. I will do all 3 of them very soon. And then at that point, I can give you more detailed information about what I think of this guy and what's going to happen. But I'm excited to do that because I really want to dive in and go, what kind of guys are these? And really, I'm more interested actually in Trace McSorley and Easton Stick. We'll get to Clayton Thorson later. There's one other quarterback in the 6th round. The 178th pick, the Jaguars drafted Gardner Minshew, the quarterback out of Washington State. And this is so awesome. I've met Gardner Minshew. He's a great guy. And the Jaguars are a fantastic, fantastic spot for him. Jaguars have a starting quarterback. Nick Foles is their guy. And that means that Gardner Minshew can sit and learn how to become an NFL quarterback. And I think that's a great situation. If you're Gardner Minshew, you want to become a successful NFL quarterback, have a 10-year career, you got put in a really good situation to succeed. Another thing that's really good about this move is that the AFC South in particular is a really good division that fits Gardner Minshew's skill set really, really well. You play games in Jacksonville, Florida, Nashville, Tennessee. You play indoors in Indianapolis, indoors in Houston. Gardner Minshew has a limited ability to throw the ball downfield. He's just got limited arm strength. I love the guy. Great guy, really accurate, doesn't have a lot of velocity driving the ball downfield. I would not want Gardner Minshew in New York or in Pittsburgh or in Denver. Like a blizzard in Denver, count me out. I don't want Gardner Minshew to be my quarterback. In fact, I watched him play in a blizzard in the Apple Cup last year. It didn't work out very well. But because of the AFC South, Gardner Minshew, if he ever becomes the Jaguars quarterback, is going to play mostly indoors in warmer weather, and that's a really, really good fit for Gardner Minshew. Another thing to mention, by the way, is I've said this many times in this topic, he's a fantastic, fantastic human. And the Jaguars locker room very much improved when they added him and they drafted him. I really like what the Jaguars did. It's a good pick and a good fit for Gardner Minshew. The last quarterback drafted in the 2019 NFL draft, in the 6th round, the Ravens drafted Trace McSorley, the quarterback out of Penn State. I did not think he was going to get drafted. I was very surprised by this, although it makes sense. They wanted his rights, and maybe that's more the 7th round. But the point is this. He's more of a running quarterback. I didn't think he was going to get drafted. I didn't even bother doing a film analysis of him because I really thought Trace McSorley was going to be an XFL quarterback. And it makes sense, though. The Ravens have a system where the Ravens ask quarterbacks to do more with their legs than any other team in the NFL by far. And to have a good, scrappy backup for Lamar Jackson, a guy who can run, who can throw a little bit, Trace McSorley does really fit well into the Ravens system. And it makes sense. I really like it. I want to do a film analysis of him because I don't know how good he is as a passer. As a runner and as a guy who can throw a little bit and run a lot, he's a really good fit for the Baltimore Ravens offense. Now, there are 3 other quarterbacks who were signed that I think are notable. Tyree Jackson went undrafted. He signed with the Buffalo Bills. He's a quarterback actually out of University of Buffalo. Arizona State quarterback Manny Wilkins, guy I've met. Great guy, works really hard. He's great in the film room. He's really a positive influence on your locker room. He signed with the Green Bay Packers. I think he could make the roster. I think Manny Wilkins is an underrated quarterback, underappreciated quarterback, who I think does a lot of good stuff if he ever gets picked up and makes the team in Green Bay. And then Boise State quarterback Brett Rippon signed with the Denver Broncos. I don't know if he's going to make the roster. We'll find out. But maybe he does. Maybe he might be holding a clipboard for a couple of years. I think that's a weird move for him to sign there. He must not have had other offers. I don't know. But I don't think Brett Rippon's ever going to see the field in Denver. Sad. I don't know. I'm not even going to do an NFL. I'm not even going to do a draft analysis of Brett Rippon. I don't really want to. I've met the guy. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to do that. So those are where all 11 quarterbacks who were drafted went, and 3 more additional quarterbacks who signed contracts in the NFL. Guys, those are the 11 quarterbacks. Thank you so much. That is my analysis. I just want to say thank you so very much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. My name is Zach Schaumler. This is my podcast, Strong Opinion Sports, and it is my favorite thing in the entire world. I love it. In fact, my dream is to someday do Strong Opinion Sports as my full-time job. If you believe in me, if you believe in that dream, please help me grow by telling your friends about the show. Share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter. Maybe screenshot it. Maybe you put it on Instagram. It does me a huge help if you can tell your friends about Strong Opinion Sports. Another way you can help me if you want, no pressure, I have a PayPal, paypal.me/Zach Schaumler. I also have a Patreon account, patreon.com/Zach Schaumler. It does me a huge help if you want to. Really, if you have no money to give, no problem, please. The number one thing, if you want to help Strong Opinion Sports, the number one thing you can do is help me grow by telling your friends about this podcast.